Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Power to the People. I'm your host, Corbin Snarden, giving you the information that you need to empower your community. Today we have special guest, Mr. DeJuan Thomas here, a celebrity interviewer as well as social media profile. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you. Of course, I'm always going to promote former students from the Paducah area, so I just want to mention he did come through Paducah Public Schools, which I'm proud to say that, tornadoes, go Tornadoes. Yes, but bringing you back on here to the show, wanted to get into the role of social media and talking about how social media influences us in this age. But before we get to that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I'm a social media influencer, I'm a YouTuber, and most importantly, I'm a celebrity interviewer, and I just do a lot with social media and videos and editing and all sorts of things like that and social networking. So,
okay, how did you get started into that?
I don't even really know. It started, I think, in high school because that's when, Instagram was really starting to come up, and I would start like meme pages because that's when memes started up. And I was like, oh, I can get people to follow this page. And then from there, I started going into my own personal page as the years progressed. I got into college, and I was like, social media is a business now. Like, it's not just for fun. It's actually, you can make money doing social media. So I've just evolved with it since about high school. So.
Okay. We know that almost every young adult and teenager pretty much has social media. Mm-hmm. So you've transitioned to more of a business model side for social media and applying that for income. Now, we got a lot of people that think they're Instagram models, or we have a lot of people that make YouTube videos, mm-hmm, or do some of the same things that you mentioned. What is the difference between just a casual social media person versus somebody that's actually going to the business model like you?
Well, I think it is like people that do it casually, they don't take it as serious as somebody like me would. Like, I take my social media seriously because it is an income for me through the platforms, and I put a grind into it. I invest into it. That's the biggest thing about it, is my social media is an investment. So people that do it casually, they may just be doing it for fun, but they're not going to get the results that I would get from, really grinding at it.
All right. When we think about social media, everybody's after those likes. Everybody's after the double tap, trying to get the hearts or whatever, the comments. Everybody is wanting that. So how do you craft material that is going to generate the likes that you want, to get the responses that you want?
Yeah, definitely. It's like a gamble because all three social medias are different. So with Facebook and on YouTube, Facebook and YouTube, I post my celebrity interviews, and it just depends on if they hit with people or if they don't, and it's just a risk. And I started this as a hobby. It was just fun. I love film, and I'm able to network with so many people, so I thought, why not put those together, get on camera with these celebrities and promote myself while also getting footage for people that like these people,
How do you craft a response that you're looking for? When you're putting out a video, how do you craft it to get the likes that you're generating, that you're wanting to generate?
Right. So it's hit and miss. It's really a gamble with certain content. So with videos, with my celebrity interviews, it's if the people like those individuals that I'm filming with, or if it even reaches. Because sometimes with the social networks, it's hit and miss with it. And then with my Instagram, like if I post photos, it just depends on the time of day. It's a lot to it. It's like an algorithm with it, and you got to really look into your insights to see what's the best time to post something and when's the most engagement on your page, what time that is. So it's a gamble really until you got to learn your stuff. Everybody's different with it.
You mentioned something very key right there. Like you mentioned, like algorithms and posting on the right time. Now, in business world, we're going to call that metrics, and we're going to look for what are the right metrics. It's almost as if you're crafting something as intentional as, like, say, a retail product. Everybody has a cell phone, but certain people like certain brands of cell phones. Some people may want Droid, some people may want iPhone, whatever your preference is. Mm-hmm. But the people that market that know when the best time to market it is. They know when people are going to purchase it. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing with your social media page, trying to figure out what the best time is to post, what people are going to watch. So what do you find is the best time to post?
For me, it's usually either on Wednesdays or sometimes on Fridays at around 3 p.m. Because it's really like, now that school is back in session, it's kind of the time when people are getting out of school, getting on their phones, and that's when the most traffic is on social media. So for me, that's pretty much the best times.
Okay. Who would you say your target audience is? Now, you said, Wednesday after school, so I'm assuming a lot of probably school-age kids, teenagers, but is your audience broader than that, or is it targeted towards that demographic?
I'm really broad with it. Like my demographic spreads throughout the whole United States, so it's really with that timing with everything. Because parents are getting out, parents are picking up their kids from school and stuff like that. And then my demographic is just really broad since I do so many different things. So.
Okay, so let's jump into a tough question here. Social media can be very good. You just mentioned that, it's a source of income for you. It is, a platform that you're using to get out your ideas and expressions. But we also know that social media has a negative side, that it can cause a lot of problems sometimes. How do you, one, protect your brand for what you're trying to put on social media? And how do you avoid those pitfalls and this is just in general, how do you avoid the pitfalls of trying to post something that may be offensive or negative or avoiding those? Yeah,
I've learned that if you want to make it in what I want to do, you got to kind of have a filter on yourself. So with me, I've always been an outspoken person. I've always, not been afraid to talk about, touchy subjects. But I've learned with social media, you got to kind of be careful because you don't want to offend this, this group of people while also getting praise from this group of people because you'll lose this base, So you just got to put a filter on yourself and just try to avoid negative and touchy subjects, especially, if you're trying to make it big in this industry.
Yeah, I agree. People can be very sensitive to certain comments. So, obviously there's some danger zones, and we've seen the horror stories of people that have posted stuff that has just kind of ran away and turned into monsters. When you're looking at your social media and you're looking at what you post, now, is it very strategic? Are you just kind of doing the random, maybe like, oh, I want to do Facebook Live today? Or are you being very strategic about how you're posting your things? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of strategic. At this point, I'm still like an amateur in it, So I try to strategize when I should post something. That's why I kind of stick to my Wednesday date and either my weekend date. So it's kind of strategy, and it's kind of just playing with it and figuring it out because I'm still got a lot to learn with it.
You mentioned earlier that your social media is an investment. So in what ways are you investing into it?
So really, when I say my social media, I'm kind of talking about my films, and that's more YouTube, Facebook oriented. So with that, my equipment is an investment, my editor equipment, my time is an investment because it's a lot of time put into all of it. So that's when I speak of investment, it's kind of like the equipment and the grind of not getting paid to do it. So I'm investing in myself basically.
And people should invest in themselves. And I love the fact that you mentioned time because, you don't get a receipt for time.
Yeah.
You can't get a refund on time. Once it's gone, it's gone. So, time is a very precious resource and a huge investment when you're using your time for something. And you also mentioned the equipment. People don't really think about that as much. The casual social media goer or, the casual poster, oh, I posted a great pic on Instagram, but did you have a really good camera?
Right.
Did you have a really good filter? What types of equipment are you investing into at this moment, trying to branch out?
Cameras mainly, because I do a lot of film, so getting new cameras, because I started off with back when I first started filming, I started off with like a $30 camera that I got off eBay, and then about 2 years ago I got a $500 camera, and now I'm dealing with $1,000 cameras, so it's just that ladder of investment on them.
Going up those ladders and really, investing in yourself. And that works with almost any field, If you think about somebody that does music, they may have started off on a cute little cheap guitar and then the next thing you know, they're playing Les Gibson somewhere.
Right.
So I want to shift to the fact of when you're posting these things on social media, obviously you take very much pride in your image. I like the jacket, by the way. I'm gonna just give that compliment right now. Love the jacket. A big thing for Blazers.
Yes.
But so you obviously want a certain image that you want to portray. Is that trial and error, or are you, let me rephrase it, are you trying to present a particular image, or are you just one of the people that wants to be more authentic and real and like, this is the real Dewan, I'm just posting the real Dewan, or is it more of a crafted, scripted kind of thing?
It's kind of all three of them put together really, because I'm me whenever I'm on social media. I don't change myself to be displayed as something different. Like I'm me, but I also watch what I post. So it's like I said earlier with the filter thing. So I could be me, but I might put on a filter to block out certain aspects of me that maybe I don't want to be out in the world, or I want to have my privacy as well. So
privacy that's a good little segue there. So privacy, obviously social media is all about being connected, all about being open. and it kind of runs counterintuitive to privacy. How do you maintain a personal life when everything is online?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't putting my address out there on no videos or anything. So, and I'm not as big as, some people may be, like the people with 1 million subscribers on YouTube or 1 million followers and all that. But there's still that case of privacy. Like, I'm not putting out certain things that maybe somebody could find me, and, because it gets dangerous with that, especially in our day and time. So you just got to be careful of what you post and everything.
I agree. I think people sometimes don't consider just how much information we put online. Mm-hmm. And once it's there, it's there. Mm-hmm. Once you're posting those things on social media, you mentioned your address. I'm not posting my address on there, but we see so many people that hit the location button. I'm like, you're telling me where you are. If somebody wanted to, they could just roll up. So obviously, making safe practices on there. But I want to go a little bit deeper even into the privacy question. So you're posting these videos, and obviously people are going to comment on it. You're going to get your likes and your shares, and which is what you want, but you're obviously going to get comments on that. How do you filter the comments? Because people can say whatever. So obviously some comments are very good, some comments may be not so good. Yeah. How do you filter that and use that to drive more content that you're creating?
Yeah, so I can say with a video that I posted recently with Dog the Bounty Hunter, and the comment section I think it's almost at like 500 comments of people, kind of bashing me for the way my video went. And first off, I ignore negativity and I just take it and I use it as fuel to keep going. And the negative stuff and all the comments and everything, I just use that to keep building on top of it. And anything that's not positive towards me, I just ignore it. And, really those comments are just boosting my stuff. So it doesn't matter what they say. They're really helping me by commenting in general. So
it sounds like you're following the first rule of public relations. There's no such thing as bad PR, is what I was taught. So obviously even the negative comments are boosting your page because they had to have watched it to do it. So, they're kind of helping you out. When you're looking at your own content, if you're going back and looking at it and sometimes reviewing those videos, do you find yourself critiquing your work really harshly? Are you your own worst critic, or do you go to a friend and like, hey, look at this video before I post it real quick? Or how do you think this went?
Really, when I first make a video, I always send it out to my closest friends and I'm like, oh, what do y'all think of this? And I just get their little feedback. They don't go too deep into it, but like after I've posted a video, maybe some of my early videos I go back and look at recently, often, and I'm like, wow, like I've gotten so much better, and I use stuff from those videos to be like, okay, I need to work on this, I need to change this, I need to improve that. So it's all for improvement, really.
Good. I'm all for improvement. We always have to look at, what we do well and improve upon that, but we also have to look at what we're doing wrong and try to craft our way around that. We mentioned earlier, or you mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, that you're into celebrity interviewing. Now that's a pretty niche area. We see people on social media with different things, but you seem to have found your niche in celebrity interviewing. How did you get into that?
Honestly, I got to give honor to God on that. I've been blessed, and it's kind of like miraculous things because I've just come into the path of people, and it's just led me to more people and networking with even bigger people. So it started as a hobby, and I first interviewed my cousin Curtis, and from there I was like, oh, this is fun, I can do this. And I honestly can't say, I just was I was on a path, and I just kept running into people, and it just kept developing into more and more interviews with people. So.
Well, and it seems like, I've seen some of your work, and so you're crafting your way around and making your way around to different celebrities and things. Now, sometimes you may get that run in at like, oh, I saw so-and-so at the airport, and can I ask you a question real quick? When you're interviewing celebrities, how do you generate what questions you want to ask?
Wow, yeah, that's a tough one too, because like some interviews that I've had, I've set up questions, but that door was closed. So I had to go to other people there, and I can say I was at a convention, and that's where I got a lot of interviews. And the people I was hoping on interviewing, I really didn't get to, so I didn't have any questions for any of the other people. But I guess I'm just so quick with it that I would just come up with questions on the spot, and they just turned out great. And it was kind of like a conversation. One question would lead to another. And I keep it quick and simple. And really with my interviews, I just like to get inspiration from them because they've always obviously made it in what they do. So my main questions are always, what inspired you to do what you're doing, and what advice can you give to anybody that wants to go into your field? So.
I think that's very wise too, because those little nuggets can help somebody else along, and it's good for yourself too.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to learn too. I would be doing the same thing. I'm like, hey, how did you make a million?
Yeah.
But we sometimes know that when we're meeting with celebrities that you might only have that 15 seconds. You might only have that, hey, can I ask you a quick question? And so being able to get that in the moment, how do you even approach somebody if you just saw some celebrity that just walks across? Are you just the type to like, oh, paparazzi style, I'm gonna be in your face? Or are you like, hey, can I ask you a question? Are you more timid?
Yeah, I just go up to them very professionally. Like, I say, hey, I'm DeJuan Thomas. I'm a celebrity interviewer. I just got a couple questions if you have the time for me to ask you. So that's really my script that I stick with every time.
Good. You also mentioned that not in addition to being a celebrity interviewer, you have a more of a secondary role as kind of an influencer too. That your social media influences in so many different ways. What is an influencer exactly? That's a term that's being used a lot more now on social media pages.
Really, an influencer is just somebody that influences people. So for me, like a brand that I recently modeled for, Anywhere Faith, I wore their clothes, got photos made in it, and then I posted it to my social media and linked it to their page. So my goal was to just drive clients to their page. So really I'm just influencing people of what brands to buy, and it's really stuff that I like. So if people follow me, they're gonna be influenced by my beliefs, my thoughts, and everything. So
using your platform as a way to endorse somebody else's product, it seems to be a thing now that is really gaining a lot of traction. There's a lot of social media. Social media is the medium, I would say, but I see a lot of companies now that are using everyday, ordinary people who just have the following, and it's a very, very smart marketing piece. Now, they're allowing you to endorse, and I'm not saying any particular brand or anything like that. We'll keep that out of that. But so the brands and things that are approaching you, they're allowing you to use their product, or like exclusively. I'm sure they're giving kickbacks on it.
Yeah. Or it just depends. It's a client by client basis. So for one, I might do it as a charity if I really resonate with their beliefs, and then another one, I might charge them a set rate for promoting their brand.
So using your brand, you're able to actually influence companies to generate income for yourself.
Oh yeah.
So that's neat. Normally businesses, the old school days, businesses were like, we have a product, so-and-so is famous, we're gonna use them. But now people who are celebrities are able to, or gaining the celebrity status or influence on social media, are able to actually work with companies and negotiate with them and say, hey, I have X amount of followers. If you want me to market your product, pay me this much. So that's smart business is what it is. So with your product, or not product, I'm sorry, with your platform, what's your end game? Where are you going with it?
From day one, I've always said whenever I do make it to where I want to be, I'm first and foremost giving back to my community, giving back to my family, and giving back to those that supported me. So, and of course, to make it for myself. So my end goal is just to be successful and be happy in life.
Good. And one of the big things for me is, people that always give back to their community, people that always find a way to give back. I think it's shallow of a person to make it to the top and then have nothing to share with anybody else. Nobody got to where they are by themselves. With your social media platform, you're evolving and growing it. Where do you see that going in the future?
I just see it going up, honestly. The more people I network with, the more opportunities that come to me. I just see it going higher and higher over time.
Good. Education for that. So there's no degree for social media. There's no school for it. What are you doing to learn, or who are you learning from to keep developing your craft?
Honestly, for me, it's kind of been trial and error over time. Like I said, from high school, starting off, I just learned little tidbits here and there. But now I can say it's just from the people that I've hung out with. I've been around people that have a large following in LA, and I just see how they run their pages and how they connect with people, and it just, you just learn from people, really, or from YouTube. Honestly, YouTube teaches anything. So
it really does. I use it all the time to fix anything. You mentioned too that you're doing modeling as well. So in addition to the social media platform, it sounds like you're a jack of all trades, really, and dabbling in a bunch of Renaissance things. So the modeling, how did you get into that?
You know, again, God blessed me with an opportunity to go out to LA back in October of last year, and I walked the runway in LA Fashion Week, and it was just from knowing certain people, and I got connected with certain people, and they took me out there, and from there I met designers and producers of shows, and one of the designers actually contracted me, so I was flown back out in December to do some shoots with his brand, and from there I just met more people, and then also brought a show to Paducah back in July, the Mente Fashion Show. So it's just been developing since then.
Yeah, I heard a lot of great things about the fashion show. Although I wasn't able to attend myself, I heard quite a few things about it. And I think even bringing something like that to Paducah is a much needed, it's a much needed thing. You know, we don't get a lot of stuff here in this area that are like that. And I think it's so great for people here to be able to see different designers and different fashions and things like that. And just to get some nice things going on, really, you know, because we don't have a lot of that here. I love something that you mentioned, though, that's a really key thing that really ties into your role as an influencer. You talk about how you network with a lot of people and that you've met a lot of people. And I've always told a lot of my students your network increases your net worth. So, you know, being able to keep those connections with people. Now, some people are better at connections than others, but now you mentioned that you network with a lot of people. How do you maintain those contacts? What's your method of networking? How do you do it?
It's just reach out to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. And that's my main thing. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. So if I'm at an event or if I'm somewhere and I know there's people of high status there, I'm not going to be afraid to walk up to them and say, hey, my name is Dewan Thomas, and ask them questions about what they do and just, you know, get that connection with people. And some people say that I'm like a friendly kind of person, so that I'm easy to resonate with in that kind of level. So.
And if they tell you no?
You just got to take the L and walk it off. Because, I mean, if one door closes, that means a bigger door is open somewhere else.
Very good words. Of course, if I was younger, you know, scared money don't make money. So it's, but I love that. And people, so many times I think people stop their own dreams and stop their own visions from happening because they're just too afraid to kind of step out. You know, granted, everybody's not the extroverted person that can go up and talk to somebody, but if you've got a dream, you got to go for it. You can't be afraid to hear no. You can't be afraid to take the L sometimes, because sometimes you do, and it's okay. But that doesn't mean that you're taking L's forever. You know, one loss isn't meaning you're losing the war. It just means you lost the battle. Get back in the game. I love the fact that you're combining a lot of your things together. So, you know, you're using modeling, you're using your social media. You mentioned that earlier that, you know, you were in school and college, and that are you studying film?
Yeah, communications, but focus in film.
So you're putting all of that together into what you're doing now. Did that happen by accident, or was it just like, I think I need this, so let me add this to my repertoire, or were you more like, oh, that's cool, I learned it?
Yeah, it's really just, you know, I don't really put a lot of thought into where my path is taking me. It just, everything that comes to me, and that's just how I've lived my life for the longest, and all my opportunities and everything that I do just comes, and I just take it with me and, you know, keep developing it along the road.
Good. So, in the short term, for your social media, what are your big goals and next steps?
I mean, for my YouTube, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on there. I'm close. And for my Instagram, I'm just trying to, you know, continue my following, keep networking with people, because, like I said, I've networked with producers for TV shows and all that. So I just want to, you know, keep networking with more people. So just keep building my platforms. Any
aspirations of going into film?
Yeah, I'm very independent now. I'm actually working on some documentaries and other little projects here and there, and then also have clients that have me come and interview them for their company or their brand, and then they use my videos to promote them, you know, use it for themselves. So
that's really neat. That's really cool. As you're learning all of this, I'm sure by now you've probably had even people that are slightly younger than you, or maybe even a lot younger, because obviously you're very young. I'm younger than me. For the record, y'all, I'm not that old. What are they asking you, and how are you sharing the information that you have?
You know, I just keep it positive, and then, you know, try to inspire them as best as I can. I just tell them to don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do in life, and don't let anybody, you know, make you doubt yourself. So I just give them whatever advice they're asking, and I just keep it positive with them and just motivate them to keep doing what they're doing and telling them they can do it, because I'm living proof that you can do anything you put your mind to.
I think it's such a good way to say it, and I think sometimes people think that, oh, it's cliche to say you can put your mind and do anything you want to do. I was like, no, it's pretty true. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay, so 21, already moving up, climbing the ladder, ran into a bunch of celebrities, doing the celebrity interviewing, building a platform. So, you know, you are living proof that people can actually, you know, make something of themselves, and they don't have to be 80, 90 plus years old to say that I did something with my life. Like, you're already doing it. With some of the time that we have left, I would love for you just to kind of speak on, I know you mentioned that you've heard no a couple of times. How have you taken some of the challenges? And if you don't care to be specific, but we don't have to get too specific, how have you taken some of the challenges that you've had in what you've been trying to do and turn those into wins?
Basically, I can talk about a personal story where I went viral on TMZ for, you know, the Spice Girl Mel B. She assaulted me in that case. And that was a lot of negative feedback that I got. And, you know, it kind of brought me down for a little bit, but I used that to build myself back up, because I'm like, okay, you can't let this little stuff, people messaging me and doing all this, bring you down. You just got to use that as a platform to keep building and just learn from your mistakes, honestly.
Yeah, learning from mistakes is key. Everybody's going to make a mistake, and we've all made them. And so, but I think that you're definitely moving in the right direction. You're moving on a good path, and I so greatly appreciate you coming on the show today. We want to make sure that you follow us on Facebook at Paducah NAACP. And if you're not a member, look into becoming a member by going to naacp.org. We love you, and we want to make sure you catch us the next time on Power to the People. Thanks, and we'll see you later.